I'm Justin McRoberts, and you are listening to the Title Pending audio series, a collection of readings focused on moments in my own creative history that I hope shed an inspired light on yours. Chapter 9, A Word About Propaganda. Here is something true. What you care about is a key part of who you are, and making good art shouldn't require you to deny or silence parts of yourself you consider vital. Visual artist Dylan Mortimer makes some of the most provocative work I've experienced personally. Aside from his use of blood imagery and electricity, Dylan's work often wades into religion, sexuality, politics, subjects that some consider third-rail subjects. These are subjects that, according to many, are dangerous to touch or even approach. But far from avoiding that third rail, Dylan dances atop and along it playfully. Then he taps it for its immense power and uses that third rail's potentially deadly energy to, quite literally at times, illuminate the work he makes. There are things I can't imagine not dealing with, Mortimer says. I hear too many people say these issues are important to them, but they never really go there or engage with them. I need to go there every day, always. Because of the depth of Mortimer's passion regarding much of his subject matter, he runs the risk of being seen as a propagandist, someone who makes work only to further an agenda or get a message across. Making propaganda means beauty and craft are subjugated to purpose and effect. One's artistic skill becomes a means of distracting or tricking a viewer, a reader, or a listener. About the fear of making propaganda versus the trap of self-worship, Mortimer says, I think it's important to humble myself and understand that if I'm putting something out there, I'm asking for whatever criticism or praise comes from it. Being too scared or too fearful about the line between censorship and propaganda could mean making nothing. Dylan's commitment to riding that line reminds me a great deal of Zach De La Rocha and Rage Against the Machine. There was no mistaking the social and political agenda of the band and its frontman. Yet I'd suggest that the excellence and power of their work, as well as the uniqueness of what they made, provided a more than sufficient platform for the socio-political challenge De La Rocha's lyrics posed to Western economic, religious, and social norms. Like Dylan Mortimer does, Rage Against the Machine tapped the third rail, and that is part of what made their work vital, energetic, and meaningful. Similarly, the depth and passion with which De La Rocha held his convictions was reflected in the care he took to craft his lyrics. It mattered to him that his listeners heard what he had to say, and so he said it with virtuosity. I don't think the trick you should learn is how to keep your agendas and ideologies in the back seat like troublesome children. Instead, it will be learning to make work wherein your ideologies and agendas have a place of their own without taking over and dominating your work. Learning to clearly and creatively communicate things you care about, religious, social, political, etc., is an art in and of itself. So is learning to create doorways for others to enter into meaningful engagement with meaningful topics. No subject is off limits for an artist. Nothing should remain untouched. Not the profane, and certainly not the sacred. Not the mundane, and certainly not the thrilling. Not the unimportant or unnoticed, and certainly not that to which we are most drawn. Even if we find our subject matter vile and destructive, good art is redemptive. The question for you as an artist, then, eventually ceases to be what are you allowed to talk about or engage with, and becomes how well can you treat, illuminate, critique, or celebrate the things that move you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Title Pending audio series. If you've enjoyed listening and you'd like to take another step or two in the direction of your own creative process, navigate your way to yourcreativeprocess.info. And there you'll find an online course I've designed for you.